Nicolette Nordine Heavey, The Three Dolls. A very long time ago, in a land beyond our imagination, there ruled an emperor. And he ruled quite easily, for you see, his magnificent city had been built decades ago. Oh, there was a marvelous gold palace, sunny, wide market streets, places for the arts, places for learnings. This emperor had no need to solve problems, plan, or strategize. Well, for the first 2 years, he simply sat there and twiddled his thumbs. That is, until he discovered riddles. Oh, he developed a passion for riddles. People knew that if they were to meet with the emperor, dine with him, or simply pass him in the hallway, they had to be prepared. They had to have a riddle. One day, a prince from another kingdom came. He was going to ask a favor, so he knew he had to have a pretty excellent riddle. He came into the emperor's chambers carrying an ornately carved cedar chest and put it forward, opened it up. There were 3 dolls lying on a bed of clean mint and straw. The dolls all had those china faces, china hands, cloth bodies. They had magnificent shiny hair, perhaps it was real, beautifully painted faces, and outfits of silk and embroidered in gold. They all had the same color hair, the same outfits, the same painting on hands and faces. And so the riddle was, how are these dolls different? Oh, excellent, most excellent, excellent, excellent riddle. Yes, yes, you wonderful prince. And at first the emperor was excited, but after 3 hours of examination, he could find no difference. They all had the same color hair, the same dark eyes, their eyebrows etched the same. He opened up their clothing to see if they had any marks on their fabrics, anything else sewn on them, but they were all identical. May I keep these overnight and give you the answer in the morning? Absolutely. And after a night spent examining, taking a magnifying glass, still the emperor could find no difference between the 3 dolls. He asked his wise men to come. They spent 2 nights agonizing over it. They counted every strand of hair on the doll's head. They counted every single golden stitch of gold embroidery, the same number. He threw it out to the public and asked them and said he would offer a fine reward for the person who could find the answer. But then everybody seemed to line up, even though his city was so prosperous. I don't know why they would need the reward. And so then the king thought, well, if you don't find the answer, I shall throw you in my dungeon. That hadn't been used for decades, so filled with dirt and spiders. And then the lines disappeared until the healer came. She was quite well known for her healing and for her eccentricities. She seemed to be able to guide people to wellness simply by the foods they ate, or sometimes even just a smell, and sometimes even by just asking them to rest and focus. Well, the governor, the emperor, he was intrigued. The healer came up. Yes. She picked each doll up, but very briefly. What is it? You must tell me. Oh, I will show you. And she picked up the first doll. I think, Emperor, I shall need a strand of your hair. My hair? Oh, yes, it's so shiny and thick and strong. No, very well. And she took the hair and she put it through the doll's ear, and it came right out the other ear. Emperor, another hair? Oh, must you? Oh, ow! And she took that hair and put it in the second doll's ear. And they waited and waited, and it simply stayed inside the doll. Ah, said the emperor, he was getting this. Things do not always seem as they appear. Gosh, I loved dolls growing up. I was a real girly girl and was spoiled by getting a doll or two at every birthday and every Christmas. And my dolls, they were not the ones with the china faces and china hands. They were the ones made out of the hard plastic with the eyes that were very often unblinking or would blink very slowly. Or sometimes you could pull a cord and they would whisper somewhat eerily, "I have a secret." Didn't deter me. I loved dressing them up. I loved cleaning them. I loved brushing their hair. And I loved it when my father, on occasion, when he tucked me in, he traveled a lot and he worked late, but on occasion he would tuck me in and he would go into my closet. It was in the eaves of the house. He had to bend down and he would pull out the dolls and he would put them over the door of the closet. And he would pretend to be the dolls vying to get my attention so that I would choose them to sleep with that night. "Oh, yeah, I choose Lucy." "Oh, are you sure? Because I want to sleep with you too." And finally, I would choose one of those hard plastic things to curl up with and snuggle down with. We lived in Antwerp, Belgium. And at Christmas time, we had no Sears Roebuck catalog. So my mother took us into downtown Antwerp to this magnificent, amazing toy store. And we were allowed to peruse for about an hour to find our Christmas wish list. And that's when I saw the bassinet, the dolly bassinet made out of real wicker, no plastic, real wicker, with this very light organza pink sort of curtain in front of it, embroidered in all different colored flowers, the same organza ruffle around the edges of the wicker, a pink mattress inside, 2 pink pillows. Oh, I loved it. The only thing that wasn't quite right about it was it had these 4 black metal rod legs sticking down from it, but it did not detract from me. And I knew it was a big ask, but oh, I wished for it. I wished for it. And when I came down our stairs on Christmas Day, I looked at all the presents underneath the Christmas tree. Could it be there? My mother, for some reason, did not wrap it in a box, so I spotted something with these 4 black metal legs. But even then, I dared not believe it was true. Could it be? Could that be from me? Could this be my gift from Santa? But before, my mother received a gift from my father. It was a small gift, a small gift. But when she opened it up, it was, yes, the jewelry box. And it had a sparkly, shiny ring in it. It was an opal, the kind that sort of gave off all different colors of light, and around the opal were small little diamonds. Oh my, a princess ring. But my face showed more wonder and ecstasy over this amazing piece of jewelry than my mother's did. Her face closed up, and she swallowed, and her eyes blinked, and I thought I could see tears coming. And very quickly she dropped the box and ran up the stairs, and we looked towards my father. He looked irritated, and we all just sat there, suspended for a few minutes, until my mother came down, repowdered, opened the box like it was a video rewind, put it on, showed her husband, gave him kisses and hugs. But the mood had changed. And when I did open my dolly bassinet, I had to kind of fake my own joy in receiving it. I was too young to figure out what had actually happened, but I knew things were not as they appeared. Now the healer put that second doll down, hair inside, and picked up the third doll. Oh, I suppose you need another hair. Please. Oh, take it from the back. Ow! And with the third hair, she put it inside that doll's ear. Was this one going to stay inside? No. She began to pull it out of the doll's mouth. But, that didn't quite look like the emperor's hair. It was finer, more easily to bend. And could it be that the color was slightly different, a little more golden, perhaps? Well, said the emperor, clearly we see the difference between the dolls. Who knew? Wise man, you did not see those holes in the doll's ears and mouth? Oh, my goodness. But I suppose the real riddle is, what does this mean? I was waiting for you to ask that. Well, you see, the first doll, she is like many, many people. When they receive all this information, much of it useful, it goes in one ear and out the other. I don't suppose you've had any children yet, Emperor. The second doll, now that doll also receives all sorts of great information and some very useful details, some good advice, but just somehow keeps it all inside them for their own use. And the third doll received the same information and details and observations. And that doll, well, I like to call her the storyteller, but she could also be the emperor. And she kept all that information inside her for a while until she could spin it into a golden strand of a story and present it so that it was flexible and it would be listened to and admired by others, shared to all who listened. And so it was that I, as a very young girl, I buried that Christmas inside of me. But as I grew up, I heard the arguments, the slammed doors, sometimes 2 bedrooms used, sometimes 1, the I'm leaving, the I love you forevers. And throughout it all, we remained a family. We were always a family, always, holidays and togetherness, but this undercurrent. And it was not until I was in my 40s and my parents died very close together that I opened boxes of letters. My mother was quite the magpie. And she had saved letters, most of them postcards from my father as he traveled throughout Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. A lot of them benign, but some of them full of apologies. And I realized my father had not been faithful to my mother. I also read some very hurtful letters where my father tried to rationally tell my mother that while he wanted to remain married, he could not see himself as a family man. A family man, what did that mean? Did that involve us and his treatment of us? I am still digesting this information. This is but maybe half a strand that I deliver to you. But it is clear that I need to go back because things in my family were not as they seemed. Thank you.